Hey mommies, how are you? I hope that everybody's having a good day. Welcome to our video here today. And I just wanted to go over something just really quickly because lately I've had a lot of moms asking me about this. I've been speaking to a lot of new moms because of the whole breastfeeding secrets e-course. And a section that we cover in the course there is about how birth impacts breastfeeding, and it's something that I really took personally because I never realized how my birth, especially with Samuel, because I had an induction, how that impacted me with breastfeeding. I mean, it was kind of like something that was never explained to me. I didn't really know I knew what would happen in the induction and what an induction meant and how the procedure would be, but not the kind of cause and effect that would have with my recovery and the days after birth, and then obviously with breastfeeding. So in particular, one that I really find that is the most impactful is when you have a C-section. And it has, if you think of it kind of like from a natural point of view, it has so many implications after you have your baby, obviously, because it's an invasive surgery. So what happens when you have an invasive surgery is like anything else, the recovery part is like really, really important. So obviously you're gonna have to be taking care of yourself, and you're probably gonna have pain meds. There's a lot of things that go on with you, but the thing that is kind of like most impacting for breastfeeding is that hour after birth. So I kind of want to explain a little bit about the birth when you have a C-section and then what happens right after. So what usually happens is that when you have a C-section, your baby is kind of in the womb all nice and tucked in and sleeping and dreaming and doing whatever he does or she does in there. And then what happens is someone just kind of like yanks them out, and then all of a sudden they're in this like delivery room, and there's lights on their faces, and they're scared and they're shocked. So they go into like a trauma mode almost, where a baby that goes through the vaginal canal has to work at it. So it gets their adrenaline pumping, they get working, and then when they come out of the vaginal canal and they come out into the world, they're kind of like ready. They've gone through it's kind of like if you imagine that they're about to go into like a really big race and they just warmed up. So they did all their stretching and everything and they're ready to go, where the baby from the C-section was kind of just pulled out of bed and okay, you go have to do a race. So it's kind of like very different what goes on with them and how prepared and ready they are to be able to breastfeed. So that's something that really impacts and kind of surprised me really. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but when you think about it on a deeper level, you understand why that baby that has just been through a C-section is kind of not as motivated to want to nurse, where the baby that just came through the vaginal canal, even if there was an epidural involved, I mean, it can affect the baby obviously on their being able to latch and things like that, but they have a lot more adrenaline, they're more pumping and more ready to start breastfeeding. And the other thing too is that first hour, a lot of babies when they undergo, like when the mom undergoes a C-section, they get taken away, and then mom gets like cleaned up and she gets all ready again for for recovery. So that tends to disrupt the breastfeeding journey because it doesn't get off to a solid start. There was kind of a disruption, which should automatically happen, which if you look kind of at puppies when they're born, or any type of animal that is born in the wild, they're born and their first instinct, when they're mammals obviously, their first instinct is to go suck on mom, go on their breast and start suckling, and that's their natural reaction. And it's the same with babies. So if that's disrupted, it kind of creates like a I don't want to say that you're not going to be able to breastfeed, because you are. What you need to kind of be wary of, and what you need to be kind of like focused on, that if you are going to have a C-section, there are ways that can be worked around so that your baby is able to latch on, and you don't have to have your baby taken away if you don't want to. There's a lot of hospitals now that have like baby friendly and rooming policies and things like that. So it's something that you can definitely look into and discuss with your provider, you know, and your OBGYN and the nurses at the hospital before you have your baby. Most C-sections here in the States are scheduled C-sections. Emergency C-sections are not as common, believe it or not. So it's something that maybe you can discuss prior to also. And in fact, that first hour of breastfeeding is super alarming. The statistics in C-sections, 3.5% of babies actually latch onto mom within that first hour from a C-section. So that's like nothing. 3.5%, that's nothing. And where babies that came out through the vaginal canal, then that's actually 71.5%. So obviously that's a huge difference that we can see right there. So just wanted to share that with you. If you had a C-section and you were able to breastfeed right away, please share your experience and let us know, you know, what you were able to do, or did you prepare before, because I think it's so important and it makes such a huge difference to your breastfeeding journey when you're able to have that skin to skin and you know, regulate baby's temperature with your own skin to skin. It makes a huge difference to help baby to be able to latch on better. So if you can share your experience, I'd love to hear that, mommy. And also if you're a mom that maybe had a C-section and had that whole experience that, you know, maybe you got off to a bad start to your breastfeeding journey. Did you not know? Is there anything that you wish you'd have done differently that maybe you discovered now? I just think it's great to be able to share our experiences so we know what to avoid and what to do, and, you know, options that we have. Okay, mommies, bye, have a great day.